Hello every pony and welcome. I am Aleister and today Crystal Fire, what are you doing here? Aleister! Uh-oh, gotta hide. Where the devil is that pony? Crystal Fire? Straight on. Thank you. Aleister! Thanks, Crystal Fire. Wait, you want something in return? Yes, I do. Today we're going to be going through the Hobit Triology. Crystal Fire, I'll let you take this part. Okay, I'll begin. So, it's basically Bilbo writing a letter book on where the dwarves used to live, but they got greedy. A dragon comes and the elves said, "Fuck this shit, you're on your own." So Frodo pops up reminding everybody he was in the first movie. There's a bit of banter in between these two. Frodo wants to look into his book, but Bilbo says no. Bilbo then reminisces. Seriously, that's what he was doing in the first film. Oh. Gandalf turns up and we're back 60 years ago. There's a bit of bantering between these two before the journey starts. Gandalf says he's looking for someone to share in an adventure and Bilbo's like, "Nah, I don't want that shit." Gandalf does some sick burns on Bilbo before both of them, you guessed it, bugger off. Only Gandalf does some graffiti on Bilbo's door. And nobody told me this was a horror film! Get lost, old timer. So at this point, this is just world building. This is just here so you can get a sense of community, how big the Shire really is. Don't you hate it when you're trying to have your afternoon dinner and dwarves show up? Bilbo has more company when the door rings. It's another dwarf and apparently these two know each other. There's drinking and boozing all way round. Bilbo tries to put his foot down and says he's sorry. To that, one of the dwarfs says, "Apology accepted." Bilbo's nightmare isn't over since two dwarfs met him at his doorstep. One of them asks, "Is the meeting cancelled?" Which Bilbo replies, "No." They take this as an invitation and say, "Oh good," as they barge past him. Bilbo turns into the dwarf's personal weapon holster as the dwarfs socialise and eat. The doorbell goes again, and Bilbo tries to put his foot. He opens the door only for a bunch of dwarfs to fall out. Oh, I see. Maybe next time, Gandalf, we can discuss about creatures turning up at my house. This scene just makes me feel hungry. One dwarf is apparently late. This is what most fur eats look like. I never thought The Hobbit was a musical. Okay, whose edgy D&D character is this? So we get the last dwarf at the meeting. Gandalf admits he's been Banksying up his door so the dwarves could find it. This part steals the plot, so we get the plot on what quest everyone is going on, though I doubt Bilbo wants to go on it. We get some dragon talk. I'm honestly surprised Crystal Fire isn't here for this part. That key looks more like a bottle opener to me. He's like, "Get us one, lads. I want to crack one open." As you can tell, Bilbo's getting more and more interested in this adventure. Maybe I was wrong, since he did say he's not a burglar and not an expert. Calm down, Gandalf. So I would say Bilbo's going on this adventure whether he wants to or not. I'm gonna use the clip from my Hobbit game review here. Bilbo feels a little bit faint after the dragon news, but once he comes to, he goes on the journey. Bilbo still doesn't want to go on this quest. Home invasion doesn't make any journey look appealing. So yeah, some more talking happens. Here's a fella of dwarves singing in the film to make bargains, change his mind. So he wakes up the next morning and, "Now you want to go on the adventure." He tells the dwarfs that he signed the contract. They give him a pony and off they go. They didn't give them me, I have wings. I did find it funny that they had bets on whether Bilbo would come. They end up setting camp for the night. Bilbo's like, "Thorin, why something?" To that, the dwarfs told him a tale on how he lost his father, and how he chopped the orc's hand off for killing his father. Thorin's like, "He took my father, I took his arm." Later in their journey, it rains. Bilbo asks, is there any more wizards? Probably so he can distract himself from the downpour. Gandalf tells Bilbo the tale of Radagast.
The Brown, an earth wizard that looks like pigeons left some droppings on his head.
Later that night, I think Thorin pissed off Gandalf again. I think the other dwarfs ask Bilbo to find the ponies. He does find them, but trolls are trying to cook them up. I know he does tell the dwarfs. So Bilbo goes on a rescue mission to rescue the ponies. However, it doesn't help that he wants to take anything that's not stapled down. Unfortunately, Bilbo gets himself captured, and so does the other dwarfs. But Bilbo sees Gandalf, so they stall the trolls enough until they get there. He breaks a rock, and the sunlight turns them to stone. Later on, Gandalf takes some cave scrumpting. Gandalf hands him some elven swords, so he doesn't get told off for stealing. He's even bringing poor Bilbo into it. Later on in the journey, they're ambushed by orcs. They escape the orcs' onslaught by sliding down a cave. Dude, just be glad that they came, otherwise you and your dwarf friends would be dead. They followed the cave and ended up in Rivendell. I can hear the Lord of the Rings nerds jumping up and down in excitement, and I am too. As you are aware, Thorin is not too happy about this. Gandalf does make a good point. Don't bring ill will to the table. Gandalf tells them to leave the talking to him, which is wise because the dwarfs in this is like, kill first, be racist later, and vice versa. Do not kill them. Do not kill them. So Elrond offers the dwarf some food, though I'm pretty sure he was telling Thorin to fuck off. The dwarfs do not take too kindly to the vegan option that the elves have. Heck, one of them asks, got any chips, which I agree with fully. As they are tucking into their food, hey, no elf racism while I'm gone. Gandalf gets down to business. You couldn't go 2 minutes without being elfish. Elrond checks out the dwarf's elden weapons. This makes Bilbo feel adequate about his sword. Bolin tells him it's less of a sword and more of a letter opener. Don't worry, Bilbo, it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it. So that evening, Thorin gives the elves the map. Apparently, it can only be read back to Pacific day at a Pacific time by moonlight, which so happens to be tonight. How convenient. Elrond reads the map and Bolin says they need to be on the exact right time on the exact right day. It reminds me of an episode of The Simpsons. It all takes place on the 13th hour of the 13th day of the 13th month. Have a cookie if you got that reference. Gandalf distracts the council so the dwarfs can leave. They continue on with the journey until they get captured again. Of course they do. They get captured by the goblins and I feel like censoring this dude's beard. It looks like a scrot. So Bilbo Baggins fights one of the goblins with his sword and ends up falling. He wakes up to Gollum making his guest appearance. As he's made sure his food was dead, a ring fell out of his pocket. Bilbo took the ring and you know the rest. Gandalf shows up and chops...
Later, so they come to a big stump where Thorin decides to be mean to Bilbo for the umpteenth time, before telling him he was thankful he came along.
Take it away, Crystalfire.
We watch it fly to where Smaug lives and it knocks on something. In this place, all you see is Smaug's nostrils, then it ends.
I thought he opened his eyes at the end.
Yes, I am aware that Smaug does open his eyes at the end. But when I saw it in the theatres, they only showed him blowing gold from his snout. And that is where the story ends. So since the film ends on a half-assed note, I might as well too. So next is the defecation of Smaug.
Don't look that up. Starting out with a flashback. So after Thorin does his cosplay, he enters a bar. However, not everybody's too thrilled to see him. Once a shifty person starts to go near him to presumably kill him, Thorin grabs a knife, but then Gandalf sits next to him, and nobody wants to mess with the wizard. He proposes a deal.
Huh? Prisoner of war? Hang on. Aleister, why is there a picture of a TV?
Isn't it obvious? You should not let the fact that you cannot use Dazzle get in the way of making Prisoner of War Let's Plays. You can always record them on screen.
But the quality will be rubbish.
I'm sure you lot at home won't mind. In fact, you tune in just to watch the funny dragon.
But I can't find my memory card.
Just start all over again. Play until you get to that part and then start recording.
Did Ruby put you up to this?
Actually, John, and we're all worried about you with the Prisoner of War Let's Play thing. We've seen how much joy it brings you, especially when you throw stones at the Nazis. So when you can, record a Let's Play series, will you? They enter a cursed forest where Bilbo starts tripping balls. He then volunteers himself to climb a tree, mainly to get away from the hustle and bustle of the dwarfs. He finds out they're on the right trail and he tries to get the others' attention, but no response. Oh, well done, Bilbo. You tripped up and now you're caught in a trap. A spider then bounds him up and everything went black. Bilbo slices through the silk as well as a few spiders. And he puts the ring on to go into trippy camera mode. Bilbo stabs one of the spiders in the eye and that makes Bilbo's sword feel like a sword again.
Yes, we get it. You name your sword Sting because that's what the spider says when you stabbed it in its eyes.
So yeah, Bilbo rescues the dwarfs and they fight the spiders. What more did you expect? So the dwarfs are saved by the wood elves. Yeah, they're here to capture them, aren't they? I told you Gandalf was putting them in it. So luckily they didn't get Bilbo and the wood elves take him to the woodland realm. Maybe you should have been a little more quicker. They imprison most of the dwarfs. Kitty asks Toriel, aren't you going to search me? I could have anything down my trousers. Toriel comes back with the best line. She says or nothing before closing and locking the prison door on him. King Thorin tries to make a deal with Thorin, but basically it tells him to fuck off, and in the next scene he's thrown in prison. He is Thorin, what do you expect? Bilbo sneaks in and manages to grab the keys off the hanger. Still using his ring, he pops in to say hello and he's here to rescue you. The dwarfs get rowdy with excitement and Bilbo tells them to keep it down. Otherwise it would have been the Hobbit, the imprisonment of Bilbo Baggins. He brings the dwarfs to the wine basement. It wouldn't surprise me if they picked up a few drinks for the ride. Bilbo tells them to get into the barrels, but the dwarfs are not convinced. Bilbo tells them that they'll be fine. It's not until Thorin tells the others to do what he says. What? Thorin being nice to Bilbo? Thorin, are you feeling alright? The other wood elves find out the prisoners have escaped. Bilbo pulls a lever, and the dwarfs literally do a barrel roll. Once the last dwarf rolls out, the elves start walking down to the wine basement, swords being pulled out. Bilbo tries to activate the chute. As soon as the elves spotted him, he fell straight through. The dwarfs helped him into a barrel. Or not. They sail down the river as they are chased by elves. Legolas follows them, letting us know that he was in the first movie, though pretty soon they get away. While Gandalf does a little bit of urban exploring with his friend Radagast, the dwarfs meet a human called Bard. They pay him to smuggle them across the lake. They end up in Lake Town, and end up somewhat settling down there? Did I mention Stephen Fry's King? Anyway, they sneak out, they cause a hullabaloo in town, and Stephen King's like, if they want to get eaten by the dragon by tomorrow, then let them. Oh, and Keely got a poison orc arrow through the knee. Thorin celebrates, makes a big speech and holds up a key. Isn't it a little bit too early to be drinking? When the light doesn't work, every dwarf gives up and Thorin shoves the map at Bilbo. A fantasy version of if you can't beat the boss, you hand over the controller. Bilbo figures out the puzzle and Thorin comes back to open the door. Oh yeah, Keely got shot in the knee by an orc. Also, Gandalf goes after a dark wizard that turns out to be Saruman. Take it away, Crystalfire.
Bilbo enters where Smaug sleeps. Bilbo has never seen that much money before, not even the time he did tax evasion. Bilbo tiptoed through the gold, no doubt probably picking up a few pieces for himself. But that doesn't matter, all you want to see is the dragon. Alright, so after Bilbo causes a gold rush, he sees Smaug's shut-eye. Hey, there's that nostril that we ended on. Yes, I'm still salty about that. So Bilbo wakes him, what a surprise, and Bilbo puts on the ring. Yes, some of us dragons can smell you, so please get a shower if we ever meet at a fur-con. Bilbo goes and hides, because even with the ring, Smaug can still sense and hear him. Smaug beckons Bilbo into the light. Now the ring decides to pop off. Oh, Bilbo, flattery will only get you so far with a dragon.
Do you think flattery will keep you alive?
Bitch, stop reading my script, Smaug. Careful, Smaug, this is 2026. You could get cancelled for that. So Bilbo sees the Arkenstone. He stalls Smaug. He gets close up to see his mouth. Hey, stop it. I see you for avidity. Smaug can smell dwarfs no matter how much Bilbo denies it. My posture's similar to this when I wake up in the morning. Smaug states as he's looking for Bilbo, the king under the mountain is dead. I took his throne. I ate his people like a wolf among sheep. Hey. No, Ink Bunny, you don't need any more excuses for 4 content. Smaug says a few famous lines. Oh yeah, the Black Arrow plot is going along. Bolin tells Thorin he's getting too edgy because of his lust for the Arkenstone. Anyway, back to Smaug because that's what you all came to see. He makes a speech. He sees Bilbo looking at the Arkenstone, and Smaug says he should just let Bilbo have it to see Oakenshield go mad. So that's the story. We can wrap up the review. I'm just kidding. Oh yeah, this plot is happening, and the dwarves trying to find herbs for Killy. Oh yeah, and the orcs are doing orc things, orcing around. I was in the first movie. So Toel decides to save Killy. Back to the dragon, and it looks like the dwarfs are actually getting off their asses for a change. We need to get out of here. Not before I show you how corrupt I am with the Arkenstone. Did anyone else see our leader almost chopping our best burglar's head off? Doesn't matter, we have a dragon to run away from. Serves you right for your corruptness. So, Thorin gets his family reunion. Thorin has a plan to kill the dragon. That didn't work. And this is where it ends. Somebody touch my spaghetti.
What does that have anything to do with this review?
I've been meaning to use these meme. Up next is the Battle of the Five
We are seriously doing this, aren't we? So where did we last leave off? Oh yeah, the whole town is screwed. Just remember, I was in the first movie. Yeah, good point. I don't think your father wants you to be dragon food.
Don't worry, mate. One swoop from Smaug and you're free. There you go, Killy. You wanted to see Smaug after all, and you were worried about missing out. So he takes a big dive and burns Lake Town.
Stephen Fry sets off with as much loot as he possibly can. Kind of like what Donald Trump does with the ICE situation. Yeah, if I was in your shoes, I would grab as much gold as I possibly can. Power to the people! Well, that were convenient.
Yeah, Smaug is still torturing Lake Town like a delicious s'more.
Look, we can get you some after the review. Hey, look! No kids! It's Black Arrow time.
You were so close, Smaug.
As Smaug is giving the people of Lake Town free heating, Brad makes a beeline for the bell tower. Oh, that's really nice. The dwarfs do jigger all. You could have helped a few people sail out and maybe taken back to your kingdom? In fact, why are you back at your own kingdom? After Smaug has finished his flame wars, don't you think he'll want to go back home? Don't disturb me, Bilbo. I'm having my edgy moment. Back to Bard, because the dwarfs are not going to do anything.
Hang on, does Smaug recognise Bard?
Come on, Bard, this is your big moment and you almost fell into a freezing lake.
My question is, what do the townspeople have in their homes to make them explode on fire contact? Oh my gosh, they're storing whale oil from Dishonored.
He takes an arrow, fires it at Smaug and it bounces off.
What did you expect, dude?
Man, you're gonna be deaf for weeks.
Another shot, another fail. Can we just say, each time he shoots, he misses so we can get along with it?
Sounds fair. Death wish much? Child to the rescue, but you still have a death wish.
Smaug makes a direct hit to the bell tower and Bran almost falls to his death. I bet you're feeling pretty stupid now. Who are you which stands against me? That's a black arrow. If it hits you, you're fucked. Correction. Bar's fucked.
This is a perfect time for Stephen Fry to get away.
Please never say is that your son while licking your lips again, Smaug. I know you intend to eat him, but you're just coming off as a massive nonce.
Father of the Year.
Imagine if you missed. Lake Town would be in ashes, and Smaug would be eating dwarfs tonight.
Now that Smaug is dead, I not suppose that you're needed now, Crystalfire. R.I.P. Stephen Fry. The dwarfs hear the thud and Bilbo relays he is dead. There's cheering around and laughing. I don't know why they're laughing. They did nothing. It's the equivalent of somebody faking a let's play. Roll credits. So after Thorin lobs a red gem he stole from this guy, he welcomes them to the kingdom of Erebor. Ah, so that's your game. Welcome to my kingdom. Now find my Arkenstone. Reminiscing inside of a reminiscing? Anything else you want to reminisce while reminiscing, holding your Arkenstone?
Ooh, I wonder what I'll have for dinner tonight.
Just in case you forgot, there's an army of orcs that want Thorin dead. One of the orcs want the wrong ring. But this is the Hobbit, not the Lord of the Rings. There'll be enough about that ring when we're on Lord of the Rings. Oh my, I have to review Lord of the Rings Triology at some point now. Steady on, mate. Let's not turn this into heavy rain. I summon magical white elf. Careful, Gandalf, that cost extra. Okay guys, I know I'm the bad guy, but just follow my lead. I'll make it up to you by resurrecting the eye of your leader. You know what else happens in this part? Sure, it's called Go Watch the Movie. I need to move on for time, but that means there's more for you to appreciate. Or not. I am not your foal sitter.
You need this more than I do. Yoink.
Thorin, stop being obsessive and have a word said. They still haven't found the Arkenstone. This is what it would be like if Reform got into power. The Lake Town people made their way to Erebor. They dropped by the nearby town that Smaug loved to torch. Billy Collinley, is that you? Finally, the dwarfs are doing something that is not searching for that blinking stone. They are blocking the entrance so the people of Lake Town can't get in. There's a new dragon in Erebor and his name is Thorin Oakenshield. He may have not said it, but Thorin's thinking, oh shit. Bard tries to make a deal with the dwarfs and Thorin's like, no deal. Yeah, maybe have the elves not ready to attack when making a deal with Thorin. Come on guys, this is war. Could you stop going on about that sodding stone? You're late. So, a quick rundown. Thorin is still obsessing about the Arkenstone. Bilbo sneaks away to give the Arkenstone to the elves. Right, time for war. Yeah, there's a lot of rambling, so let's get on to the part where the orcs fight. The elves did that on purpose, run across the dwarfs' heads. The war rages on. Gandalf looks worried. To the city, Gandalf. Thorin is corrupt, not to mention still salty about Bilbo stealing the Arkenstone. Cliché boss battle. They attacked the refuge city, which I don't understand. Why not attack Erebor? You can finish the humans off later. You know, Thorin, this would be a perfect opportunity for you and your party to help. Oh, it's probably still going on about that flipping stone. That dwarf that sounds like Shrek is doing well. I love Fat Bastard Dwarf in this. Thorin and the other dwarfs still don't seem to be doing anything. It's kind of like zombies in 7 Days to Die. All goes into one house and ignores your base next to it. Gollum explains to Thorin that their people are dying. Which is he going to choose? He dribbles on about something or another. I see Thorin used that key to crack open a few. Seriously, he looks and sounds drunk. Okay, so not only has he been drinking, but he's also been tripping on mushrooms as well. I told you he was a dragon. Is Thorin actually going to fight? Or are the dwarfs tripping balls too? Finally, they're doing something. Ah, dwarfs. One of the races that have a catch-up while a battle is happening. So Thorin is going after their leader, Izok. You took long enough. Wow, really nice jump cut. Gandalf, did you know I was in the first movie? A bit of action. The Hobbit is brought to you by a Glasgow kiss. Oh yeah, Bilbo's running up the mountain with his ring on. Hi Bilbo. So Bilbo warns Thorin about the army of the north. Izok is like, haha, got your friend, and kills him. Okay, now it's on. Loads of fighting. Killy dies with one last boner. Legolas, this means she's free for the taking now. Ah, thanks for giving back Thorin his sword which Gandalf gave him. Finally, we were at the final duel between Thorin and Izok that we were promised. Let's speed this up, shall we? Where will you go? I'll be in the first. Bugger off to the north. There's a young ranger there you should meet. Looks like they're going to bury him with... Not that stone again! He returns to the Shire border and he knows about the ring the whole time. Happy funny ending. And that was The Hobbit. Crystalfire, where did you get off to? Anyway, what do you think about the trilogy as a whole?
Well, the first movie's kind of boring, but what do you expect? It's lining its pavement work. The second movie is a little bit more better. Good for dragon fans. You can skip number 3 unless you like long battles and dwarfs obsessing over stones.
One thing I do like about the film is the character utilises the ring more than Frodo. Yes, I know this makes Bilbo the worst ring bearer, but I much prefer the characters using the rings than Frodo Baggins going, "I can't!" Honestly, that dude only uses the ring twice. Anyway, I've been Aleister, and I've been Crystalfire, and thanks for watching.